Hello everyone, I am Darshan and today I am going to discuss about the TCP segment format. TCP is the transmission control protocol and the packet in a TCP is called as a segment. Now let us first see what a segment is. Whenever an application is sending application program running uh, in a host is sending a data to the transport layer, the data is continuously transmitted. It is a collection of, it is a continuous transmission of bits. The TCP in the transport layer converts this continuous form of data into smaller segments or the smaller units called as segments. The the smaller units from the application layer are added with a header to make up a segment. As discussed by Purnima, the TCP allows a byte streaming. That means a segment will consist of number of bytes. The collection of bytes together in a segment, and these bytes are in turn a collection of bits. So now we know the what a segment is. So segment is a smaller units or the smaller divisions of data that is received from the application layer. Now in simple words, a packet in TCP is called a segment. What is a packet? Packet is a unit of data in the network layer. A packet in UDP, as we have seen, we call it as a user datagram. Now in TCP, we call it as a segment. The segment consists of two parts: a header of size from 20 up to 60 bytes and the data received from the application program. So this is the data and this is the header that we are going to add to the data that is received from the application program. So the size of the header should be a minimum of 20 bytes and it can go to a maximum of 60 bytes. The the size of header should be minimum of 20 bytes. If it is not so, the communication may get disturbed. Hence, it has to be a minimum of 20 bytes. Now, header size is equal to 20 bytes if there are no options included in the header. What are options? We'll discuss them later. As of now, header size equal to 20 bytes if there are no options in the header. Now, and header size can go up to 60 bytes if we go on adding the options in the header. The options can be of size up to 40 bytes. Hence, the total maximum size of the header will be 60 bytes. 40 plus 20 equal to 60 bytes. Now, let us see the format of the TCP segment. So this figure shows the format of the TCP segment header. The segment header consists of source port address, destination port address, sequence number, acknowledgement number, HLAN. HLAN refers to the length of the header, which is of 4 bits. These 6 bits are reserved for the future use. These six fields, also called as flags, constitute a control field. This is the window size, checksum, urgent pointer, and this part refers to the options and allocated for padding. This can be up to 40 bytes as we have discussed earlier. Now let us see each one of them in detail. Header contains the following fields: source port address and destination port address. These two addresses are of size 16 bits. Now, what is a port address or what is a port? In the communication network, there are so many devices connected. There may be a router that is connected to a internet, which is in turn connected to a web server. For example, we take it as a web server. This router is again connected to a LAN. This LAN is connected to three hosts, say A, B, and C. A, B, and C. Now, let us consider that the host A is running three application programs. Here, let us take this for reference. Here we have, let us take it as a browser page in which we have entered youtube.com. Now, this youtube.com page that we have opened in the web browser, this page will be allocated a unique identification number called as port number. This port number is of size 16 bits. That means the total possible combination is 2 power of 16. Mean the range of addresses will be from 0 to 65,535. That is 0 to 2 power of 16 minus 1. Okay. Now, when this port number is being allocated to this web page or application program, the the web server will have a relative address, or the web server will have a address to which the data it is sending has to reach correctly. Or else, if there were no port addresses, the data sent from the web server will have traveled to your host A, no doubt with the help of IP addresses and the MAC addresses, but it will get confused whether to send the send the data to this application program or this. Hence, the port numbers are given to achieve the end-to-end communication. For example, 0 to 65,535, 0 to 1023 addresses are called as well-known addresses because they are the standard addresses. They are the standard port numbers given to different ports. For example, HTTPS protocol. HTTPS will have a port number of 80. SMTP protocol will have a port number of 25, and so on. So these are all the well-known addresses, whereas the port number that is being allocated to your web page that you have opened will not be a well-known port address. Let us take it that the port number allocated to this application program youtube.com is 10,001, and when this application program makes a request for some data, it will go to the port number 80 because HTTPS has a port number 80. All the web accesses what we have do are handled by the HTTPS protocol. Hence, the port number will be 80. Now, when a request is made from this application program to the web server will also be knowing the port number of your application program. Hence, it will send the data directly to this program only. This is the importance of the port numbers or the port addresses. Here, the source port address and the destination port address. The source port address in this case will be the 1000. In this case it will be 1001, and the destination port address will be the 80 if it is a request sent from this application program to the web server, or else it is vice versa if the data is being sent from the web server to the application program. Now, sequence numbers. As we have seen, a segment is a collection of bytes, and in TCP every byte of the segment is given a number, is numbered. For example, consider this as a 20 byte long data. Okay, and I address this, I give the sequence, I give the number to this byte as 1000. Then the byte number of the next byte will be 1000, 1001, 1002, and so on up to 1019. So what is a sequence number? The sequence number for a segment is the sequence number for a segment is the byte number of the first byte in the segment. The sequence number always gives which is the first byte in the segment that the receiver is going to receive. In this case, 1000 will be the first byte that is going to be transmitted. So this will be the sequence number of the segment. The sequence number is 32 bits, and whenever a connection is established, there has to be a initial sequence number ISN. This initial sequence number is randomly generated by a generator. Now once this initial sequence number is set, a segment is transmitted to the receiver. The receiver will receive this segment, and next segment has to be transmitted. Next segment will be having the sequence number equal to the initial sequence number plus the number of bytes in the previous segment. That is, if it was initial sequence number was 1000 and it contains 20 bytes, then the sequence number of the next segment will be equal to 1020. In general, the sequence number of some segment will be equal to sequence number of previous segment plus the number of bytes in previous segment. So this will give you the sequence number of a present segment. Now let us go to the acknowledgement number. What is an acknowledgement? It is a message sent from the receiver to the this is a message sent from the receiver to the sender that the packet or the segment has arrived sound and safe at the receiver side. The acknowledgement number is always the acknowledgement will always have a acknowledgement number, and this acknowledgement number will always announce the sequence number of the next segment that the receiver is expecting. For example, in this case, if this segment of data is being transmitted to the receiver and the receiver receives it properly, the last byte is numbered as 1019. That means that the next byte should be numbered with 1020, and hence the receiver will send an acknowledgement with acknowledgement number equal to 1020. That means it is expecting the sequence number next as 1020, and hence the sender has to set the sequence number of the next segment to 1020 only. And in the in the TCP, there can be a chance of piggybacking the acknowledgement number and the data. What is a piggybacking? Here, whenever the receiver is sending some acknowledgement to the whenever the receiver is sending some acknowledgement to the sender, the receiver has, if it has some data to be transmitted, it can transmit the data along with the acknowledgement only. Means if there is a acknowledgement, it can also transmit the data along with the acknowledgement to the sender. This reduces the load on the channel, because if the acknowledgement is sent once and data is sent again, then the time is more and also the channel will be under the load. So this can be reduced in the TCP by piggybacking the acknowledgement and the data. Next field is the header length. The header length is of 4 bits size. That means this is an indication of the length of the header. It is not the actual length of the header. Okay. For example, if I say the hlen will be equal to x, then the actual length of the header will be equal to x multiplied with 4. For example, if I have hlen equal to 12, then 12 into 4 will be equal to 48. That means the length of the header is 48 bytes. So as we have discussed earlier, the maximum size of the header should be 60 bytes and it should have a minimum 20 bytes of size. Hence the value of this field is always between 5 and 15, because 5 into 4 will give you 20 bytes and 15 into 4 will give you 60 bytes. Any number less than this will indicate a problem in the communication. Next, coming to the control field. The control field is of size 6 bits. That is having 6 fields. That the 6 fields can also be called as flags. The setting of various flags will enable flow control, connection establishment and termination, connection abortion, and the mode of data transfer in TCP. Now let us see the various flags of the control field in detail. There are 6 flags in the control field. One is the urgent flag, acknowledgement flag, push flag, reset flag, synchronization flag, and the finish flag. Urgent flag is equal to 1 when there is some amount of some bytes of data in the segment are urgently to be transferred. Then that amount of data will be sent earlier to the other data. In such cases, the urgent flag will be equal to 1. The acknowledgement flag will be equal to 1 when the segment you are transferring is a acknowledgement from the receiver to the sender. Push flag is used to indicate that the whatever the data you are sending has to be sent immediately over the channel. In the communication, all the bits are accumulated first before they are transferred over the channel. Once the required size or the required limit is reached, the data is then pushed over onto the channel. But when push flag equal to 1, whatever the size of the data is present, that amount of data will be sent immediately over the channel. For example, let us consider analogous to the courier service. For example, when you are sending a courier at 9 a.m. to the courier office, the courier office or the courier service will wait for all the other couriers to accumulate their courier or the packages. Then after some time, say it is 12 p.m., after 12 p.m., how many packets will be or how many couriers will be reached, all those will be taken and then that will be transported. Then this is not called as pushing. Pushing is the case where you are sending the courier to the courier office at 9 a.m. and you are ordering the courier office to send the transport the packet or the courier immediately at that time. At 9 a.m. you are sending the data and it has to be transported immediately at 9 a.m. only. This such case is called as pushing of the data. When you want to push some data, then the push field will be equal to 1. Next, reset field. Reset flag will be equal to 1 whenever you want to reset the connection. Synchronization field. Synchronization, this field will be equal to 1 whenever you want to synchronize the sequence number at the sender and the receiver. Finish field, as the name itself indicates, it is used to terminate the connection. Whenever you are sending a segment with the finish field equal to 1, that means that the connection is no longer needed and the transmission of data is completed. Hence, the connection can be disabled. So this is about the control field. Now moving on to window size. The window size is the maximum amount of data that a host can receive or an application can receive. For example, if I say my window size is 5000, then it means that I can accept the data which is of size less than or equal to 5000 byte, not more than that. Hence, this field is determined by the receiver side, not the sender side, and whatever the receiver will send through this field, the sender has to obey that. If it is saying that he can accept only 5000 bytes, he has to send only 5000 bytes. He cannot send more than that. Okay. Hence, it is also called as receive window, denoted by RWND. For example, in a communication, when a sender is sending some data, he is sending for a request to the receiver. Then if the receiver is ready to accept, he will send the RWND to the sender. RWND indicates the maximum amount of bytes that the receiver can accept. For example, if we say RWND equal to 5000, then this sender has to send the data of maximum size equal to 5000 only. Then the sender can also send his receive window as some number. For example, it is 7000. That means the sender is capable of accepting 7000 bytes, whereas the receiver can accept only 5000 bytes. So when the sender is sending some data, it has to take care that the data should not exceed the limit of 5000 bytes towards the at the receiver side. Whereas the receiver, when it is sending some data, this receiver can be a host. When this host is sending some data to this host, then it also has to take care that the data size should not be more than the 7000 bytes here. Now coming to the checksum. This checksum is a 16-bit number that is added to the header of the segment. This checksum is as you already know, this checksum is used for the error control. That is, whenever a data is transmitted from sender to the receiver has to check whether the data is correct or not. This is the main function of the TCP that distinguishes a TCP from the UDP. In UDP, there is no chance of error control, whereas in TCP, the error control is mandatory. Hence, the checksum is also mandatory. The checksum is calculated based on the addition of the fields of the header and generating a number. This number will indicate the checksum. The calculation of checksum is similar to the checksum calculation that we had discussed in the UDP. Also, we take a pseudo header from the IP header. The IP header will consist of many fields. From that IP header, we are considering only a few fields that are not going to change. Like this is the source IP address, destination IP address, 8-bit protocol, 16-bit TCP total length, and all these are taken. They are added together, and the ones complement of the added value is taken to generate a number. This number is called as a checksum. This checksum is added in the header of the segment. When the receiver receives this data, the receiver also calculates the checksum in the similar way and generates some number. If the checksum sent from the sender and the checksum calculated at the receiver are matching, then only the data is accepted by the receiver, or else it is discarded. So this facilitates the error control in TCP. And this checksum, as we all know, UDP is a connectionless protocol, whereas TCP is a connection oriented protocol. That means that UDP does not care about the error control, whereas the TCP has to take care of the error control. Hence, the checksum in UDP is an optional thing in UDP, whereas the checksum is mandatory in the TCP. Next field is the urgent pointer. This urgent pointer is a 16-bit field, and this field is valid only if the urgent flag, that is the urgent flag that we had discussed in the control field, when this flag is set, only then the urgent pointer value will be valid, or else it is an invalid information or invalid value. Now, what is this urgent pointer? Urgent pointer is a value that must be added to the sequence number to obtain the number of last urgent byte in the data section of the segment. Now, we have said that if there is when the urgent pointer is urgent flag is equal to 1, that means there is some amount of urgent data that has to be sent in the segment. Let us consider that from here to here, this data is a urgent data. Then the first sequence, this sequence number will be equal to, let us say, 1000, and there are 50 bytes of data that is very urgent. So the last byte value of the urgent data will be 1049 if it is 50 bytes. So the urgent pointer will be equal to 49, because from the sequence number we have to move forward by 49 bytes to get the last digit of the urgent data. Hence, this pointer will hold the value that must be added to the sequence number to get the last digit of the last byte number of the urgent data. In this case we have 10,000 and the urgent pointer value is 49. So by adding these two we'll get 1049. This indicates the last digit of urgent data. Hence this is the importance of the urgent pointer in the segment header. Now at the last comes the options field and the padding. As we have discussed, in the TCP segment there is a field allocated for the options and padding form. So this options and padding field can be a maximum of 40 bytes. That is, this contains the optional information that has to be sent from the sender to the receiver. The major thing we deal is the maximum segment size. Maximum segment size denoted by MSS. Now, what is a maximum segment size and how it is different from the window size? Whenever a application is sending the data, the transport layer is making some segment and sending it to the receiver. So when this segment is being received, the segment is being transported over the channel, it passes through the network layer, data link layer, physical layer, and at the receiver side it again goes back in the reverse direction through physical layer, data link layer, and the network layer. In the data link layer, every data link layer of every host has its own data link layer, and every data link layer has a maximum segment size. For example, if this data link layer has a maximum segment size of equal to 500 bytes, that means the maximum segment the maximum segment size must be equal to 500 bytes, but the transport layer has a window size RWND equal to 5000. That means the transport layer can accept 5000 bytes of information, but the data link layer can send only 500 bytes of information to the network layer and hence to the transport layer. So it is indirectly depicted that to fulfill this RWND we can multiply MSS by 10. That is, we can send 10 segments of 500 bytes to the receiver. 10 segments of 500 bytes to the receiver will give you 5000 bytes. This is the maximum window size of the receiver. Same way, when the receiver is sending some data, it also has to take care of the MSS of the sender and it has to send the data accordingly. Let us see how the encapsulation of the data takes place. First, there is an application program running that is at the application layer. This application layer is sending the data to the transport layer. The transport layer makes the segments and then transports it to the network layer. The network layer will create a datagram that is encapsulating the segment from the transport layer. Then this datagram is sent to the data link layer, which where the frames are formed, and this frame is sent over the physical layer through the channel to the receiver. So this is the flow of the data starting from the application layer. It passes through the transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and finally the physical layer, where from where the data is moved onto the channel and it reaches the receiver. At the receiver side, the reverse process takes place. At the receiver, the data is first received by the physical layer, then the data link layer and network layer, transport layer. Then the at last the data decapsulated data will be sent to the application layer. This is about the TCP segment format. Thank you.